Well, it's nice to be joined by Johnny Boychuk of the New York Islanders, who's not New York, but instead in Edmonton. Johnny, if conditions were different, I might have been able just to come over to your house, but
Yeah.
obviously that's not the case right now with COVID-19. How has the coronavirus just sort of impacted you, and I guess your travel plans of leaving New York and coming to Edmonton?
Yeah. Well, at first we didn't really want to leave New York. We had hoped that we would start back up soon, but after seeing all the cases going higher and higher, we decided to come back home because there wasn't as many cases. And um, I mean, we didn't want to come home, but for our family, it was, I think, the right choice because compared to New York, Edmonton's count is drastically lower, and we thought as a family it was a good decision for us to come home. And so far, it's been good. We got a gym in both places, so I'm able to work out in either New York or Edmonton. So it's nice that way. But I'm sure, just like every other hockey player, we'd rather be playing.
Yeah, lots of working out, and I wonder if you're one of those guys that's been working out around your kids, sort of, and young family, or working out at times with them, just to sort of keep them involved.
A little bit of both. Usually, we get up, we have breakfast, start the school, do a couple subjects, and then I'll go down either with the little baby Brody or go by myself. I try to go by myself because usually it ends up being a screaming match for him. Just starts screaming because I'm not paying attention as I'm riding the bike or something. So it's, I mean, it's definitely different because you go from playing hockey to being a homeschooler. So me and my wife take turns doing different subjects. So it's a different schedule, but you try to do the best that you can with this opportunity to, you get to enjoy your kids a lot more as well. So it's a different opportunity, but hopefully we get back on the ice. But you know, right now, just worrying about everybody's health and staying safe.
Well, speaking of health and staying safe, I think one of the images that people will remember is what happened to you just before the NHL went on pause, suffering what was, considered to be a serious eye injury, and it could have been worse. You look good. How are you, and how's your eye and just your vision?
It's going good. I mean, as you can tell, I can see totally out of this eye. But at first, for the first month, it was a little bit different because the first, I think it was about 2 weeks. It wasn't really opening up that much. I mean, when it first happened, that basically cut through my eyelid, and you could see that film on the back of your eyelid. And I seen it in the picture, but I didn't really want to show it to anybody because it was kind of gruesome. So I kind of kept that to myself because as soon as you send it to somebody, they'll send it to somebody, and it's something that sure some people would want to see, but it was kind of scary for me because it was probably within a millimeter of cutting my eyeball.
90 stitches, and the way you're looking now, at that moment when it occurred, it's certainly the few minutes and maybe a few hours after, is it hard not to think worst case, or were you sort of alleviated of that kind of pressure very quickly by the doctors?
Um, at first, I didn't know because when I opened my eye up, um, all I saw was blood. So I didn't know, and that's why when I put my glove on my face and went off the ice, I actually thought my eyeball was cut. But when we got in the dressing room, maybe 1 or 2 minutes later, the doctor and my trainer told me to take my glove off my eye to see how bad it was, and it wasn't cut. So thankfully, it wasn't cut, but still had to go to the hospital and get a lot of stitches.
Yeah, 90 is mentioned. What did you think of the outpouring of affection, support, love? You can use any kind of term to describe just how many people contacted you, messaged you. How heartwarming was that?
Well, I mean, I had a lot of messages and a lot of thoughts, and I mean, you never want to see anybody go through that. If it's me or a teammate or anybody else in the NHL, you never want to see that because, you think of yourself and you're like, well, what if your eye got cut and you're blind in one eye? You never want to see that. But for how many people sent their thoughts, it was much appreciated, and it does go a long way.
Well, listen, we're appreciating the fact we're doing this on a Zoom call.
Yeah.
You've also done another Zoom, a Stanley Cup reunion from 2011 with the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
Great idea. What did you think of it, and how did it kind of turn out in your mind?
It was good. It was, some of those guys you haven't seen since you won, and it was good to get back on the call and see most of them. And it was fun watching the game because it's something that we'll always remember together, and we have a connection and bond through that game and that team. And it was a fun experience to sit there and chat and probably chirp a little bit and watch the game. And it was a good call, and we're looking forward to getting together as a team, not over a Zoom call, but that'll come in time. But everybody's healthy, and that's all that matters.
Well, they say win together once and walk together forever. What are the friendships like with guys who might still be in the NHL, guys who've retired, and just there's always that common thing that you guys work so hard together to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, you always keep in contact with guys that you've played with, but the guys that you've won with, you keep a little bit more in contact with, even if you haven't kept in contact with them and they message you at some point, you get back to them probably that day, and you either phone them or text them, or if you're in the same city, you probably meet up with them. So it's it's a bond that will never be broken, and you always cherish those memories.
When you think of winning the Stanley Cup, and before you know it, we're not sure what's going to happen to the Cup in 2020, but you're almost getting to a decade soon. What stands out the day with the Cup? Just being able to hold it on the ice. What are a couple of things you really, really remember about that?
I don't really remember much about as soon as we won, because it's kind of like a blur. But I remember holding the cup, hoisting it. But I remember the day with the cup a lot more vivid than right after the game, because you're just so excited. And I just remember taking it to the Stollery, having lunch with it at Chop, and having it over at my parents' house, taking it to Cook County Saloon. So it was a good time, and we took it to Fort Edmonton Park and had people take pictures with it and donate money towards the Stollery. So it was a good day, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
I want to ask you about hockey regarding the return of it potentially. The Islanders are kind of right in the mix for a playoff spot, and then throw in your injury situation. I wonder how much you'd be able to do if you came back, and how much you're looking forward to potentially the remainder of the regular season and another shot at going after a cup.
Well, but right before this happened, I was actually thinking I might have been able to play in Edmonton the next day, but I mean, we flew back home to New York, so I would have probably been playing within the next 2 or 3 games. But this happened, so once the season starts back up, if it does, then I'll be ready to go.
Well, that's great news. And listen, I want to just finish off with a rapid fire segment with you, and these are pretty easy. Favorite dessert?
Dessert? A popsicle.
Oh, that is old school. Childhood hero?
Al McInnes.
A heck of a defenseman. Good choice there. Favorite arena to play in?
Montreal. Or Nassau.
A lot of guys have said that.
Or Nassau Coliseum.
Yeah, those are a couple of good choices, kind of old school. Favorite sports movie?
Remember the Titans?
And finally, if you weren't a National Hockey League player, what do you think you'd be doing?
Oh, I'd probably be working on the oil rigs or something like that.
Well, you know what? You're a good, honest, hardworking defenseman, and it would be another good, honest type of hard work you'd be doing if you weren't in the National Hockey League. But you are. Listen, it's great to see you, and great to see that you are doing well after such a scary injury, and hope to see you around a rink sometime soon.
Thank you.